Hello and welcome everybody to episode 3 of Demi-God Discussion. I am your co-host Adrian.
I am your real host Randy.
I'm the other host Gianni.
Yeah, he's the other real host.
I tried doing the Hercules weight drop.
Oh, big weights, big gains.
So far, over the past 3 episodes, we've recorded in 3 different rooms so far, and I don't know. This is miserable. Yeah.
I mean, this one's got reverb, so I'm fine with this.
But like, we keep having to move rooms. I like the second one we did a little bit better, just because that one was bigger. You know. So, anyways, I haven't checked any of our podcast stats in a while. And when I mean a while, I mean like a while. I think we have like 25 downloads or something.
Yeah, while we're talking, Gianni has just been lifting.
He's been lifting weights. He's been lifting hella weights. Let's see.
How many is that?
20.
20?
Yeah.
Oh, hell no.
When did this become a fucking weightlifting podcast?
You haven't started anything, so you gotta do something.
Okay, that's true. Well, because I'm looking up our stats right now on Buzzsprout.
Big games.
You know what? Pass me that 15.
Okay.
Let's see what I can do.
I'll check our stats later. It really doesn't matter. Long story short, we had to record this one a little bit later, because.
Thank you.
Because 2 of us were sick.
Dude, but we're gonna hear this in every single bit of the audio.
Don't worry about it.
You guys know that, right?
Don't worry about it.
That clicking? Alright, that's fine. Okay. So we had to record this one a little bit late because of unforeseen circumstances, that being our 2 gay lovers here got sick.
Yeah, we made out a little too much.
I just think it's really coincidental that Randy got sick and then a day later you got sick, Gianni. I'm just saying.
He got sick a day before me. Right?
Me and Gianni should just lifting while we talk about Percy Jackson.
We got sick after practice, so I think maybe you just got sick. You fucking.
I wasn't sick. Regardless, so it's been about 2 weeks since our last episode, and in that time we have watched and rewatched episodes 5 and 6 of Percy Jackson
like 3 times.
Well, I've seen them 3 times. I saw episode 5 like 3 times, and then episode 6 another 3 times. But we watched them. We just rewatched them. So should we just get right into it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me and
So
Gianni are just gonna be exercising while you do this.
that's gonna be a fun thing to hear.
You're gonna hear 2 big men sweating and breathing down.
If you
the mic.
drop that on my drum set, I will kill you.
It's not gonna drop. This is light. I'm just doing normal stuff.
Alright, well, so just a little bit of a recap of the last 4, well, just the last episode, I guess. How did we end off last episode? Percy falling into the arch, right? Or from the arch into the river.
And then Poseidon grabbed him.
And then Poseidon grabbed him, yeah. So, episode 5, we start out with police vehicles and firefighters, and we zoom in on Grover and Annabeth, and Grover's worried because, like, the police, like, officers are looking at them, right? Which, I don't know why.
They really thought 3 kids were gonna be responsible for the destruction of a train and an arch.
I mean,
exactly.
What if they aren't police officers? You know, some monsters are more hidden in the mist than others.
That makes more sense. But I know monsters tend to be teachers more often than not.
What, they just like little kids?
You know what?
I don't know. Like, it's 3 12-year-olds blow up a train and destroy a national monument. I mean, I don't know.
Yep.
But Annabelle's not worried about that because she sees the 3 fates weaving together some giant socks. And typically that's earlier on in the series. Like, that's like right after Percy leaves the anti-academy that he sees the 3 fates. But they moved it back here and it's Annabeth that sees them. I don't mind that change. It's okay.
It's alright.
It's alright. Then they snip the life cord, or like they snip the yarn, which typically means that someone's about to die.
Wanna know how I know that?
How?
Hercules. The Disney movie.
The Disney movie?
Hercules.
Oh! Yeah.
They're gonna snip his string, but then he became
like a full god.
Yeah, and they couldn't cut it.
Right.
Yeah, I
Yes,
don't
know.
remember that movie anymore. I haven't seen it since I was little.
You gotta watch it again. We just gotta, on Valentine's, over that wine and candles.
These two are gonna be hanging out on Valentine's Day together because they're both single and they're gonna have chocolate and wine.
Yeah, well, we're gonna be in a car and then the gas tank is gonna be exposed.
Yeah, we're gonna have one
with
last
a line of
section.
gas leading down like a mile down. We're gonna call someone up to light it up, and while we're in the car waiting for it to arrive.
As you guys have very passionate lovemaking.
Yep.
Okay.
Regardless, they decide to ditch.
It changes.
Yeah, they decide to ditch the whole arch because they don't want the police looking at them, and Annabeth's freaked out because of the three fates. They go and find Percy, and then Percy leaps out of the water, just fucking out of nowhere.
He just jumps out.
And he's like soaking wet.
I mean, of course.
So in the books, he doesn't water doesn't get him wet, right? Unless he wants it to. But I understand why they changed that for the show because one, you're having underwater scenes, right? And then I just for convenience, I guess, if they're having him come out of the water, they're gonna want him to be, they're not gonna want to go through all the time.
Also for audience because it will look weird for a lot of people getting into it.
That is true. Because they don't mention it, so it would look weird that he comes out of the water and he's completely dry. Most people that aren't familiar with the series, I feel would probably look at that as being
lazy.
Yeah, them being lazy or an error. So I understand that. Annabeth goes up and hugs Percy, and she hugs him for a solid 5-10 seconds, right? And
longer.
Well, yeah, and
5 years.
It wasn't that long.
It wasn't. That long. It was a pretty lengthy hug. It was pretty weird.
Yeah, even Annabeth finds it weird. That's as soon as she lets go, she sort of has this what the fuck look on her face. Did I see that?
I was a certain friend of mine used to hug me for that long in middle school, and I always felt weirded out.
Yeah,
sometimes
long hugs are weird.
By the end of that minute, I'm like, please, just let go. I want to go to class.
No, you know how I responded when I was like, I just squeezed the living fucking life out of them.
What?
Hugs.
I was like, you want a hug? I'll give you one.
Breaks their fucking spine.
Damn, my freaking left arm is so weak. Okay, well.
I wonder why.
Especially
anyways.
the up and down motion.
Jesus Christ. Anyways, so... Stop. Please stop. Please stop.
Alright.
We're gonna continue. Percy tells him that they have to go to Santa Monica because he's gonna meet with his father, right? And they sort of come across some, problems because they're wanted, so they have to hitchhike all the way to Santa Monica, and they're in St. Louis, right? Which, from what I'm not very good at geography, but that's very far from Santa Monica.
Yeah.
So they hitchhike. They're going. Oh, that's fine.
Dropped my bag of dildos. Sorry.
Accident.
Percy starts talking about how the quest isn't necessarily about retrieving the Master Bolt. It's more so about finding out who did it, right? Who stole it. And Grover and Annabeth were just yeah, obviously. And Percy's the last one to figure it out. But, that's fun.
We kind of expected that from Percy.
Yeah. He's not... Well, not that he's not...
He just got into it, dog.
Yeah. He's been a Demi-God for a week at this point.
He's always been a Demi-God.
He's just been realized.
He's known he's a He's been a Demi-God for, a week. And that's actually not kind of funny, but, throughout the show... he'll, last episode and in the next episode, which we'll talk about later, he'll be can I ask a stupid question? Or, hey, you don't think I'm dumb if I'll ask this question, right? But the questions he asks are, kind of reasonable. Because, obviously to Annabeth and Grover, they've been in this world for a while, they're gonna know, what it's about. But Percy doesn't know anything. So the questions he asks, in my opinion, are completely reasonable, Regardless of that, they go to Santa Monica, and, they're going to Santa Monica. A bike starts coming the way, so they hide. And then Percy starts talking about how weird Annabeth is being, and he thinks it's because of the hug. It's just like,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be a thing, Friends hug friends, And then she reveals...
And then she talks about the fates and what she saw.
Yeah, and how she's afraid one of them is going to die. And then we meet the one, the only, god of war, Kratos. No, Ares.
My favorite character by far.
Ares is a dipshit this episode, but he's like a funny dipshit, if that makes sense.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He reminds me a lot of my father, and I'll get to why later.
You wish you had a father like that.
No, not the god aspect. I'm talking about the emotional abuse and other stuff. But regardless.
The emotional abuse. You know what? Pick up your words.
He was present during their presentations on the winter.
Oh, you want to go?
Yeah.
All right, fine. I guess.
Didn't Aries say he was present when he needed to be? He just hated them.
Okay, well, we'll get to that later. I think I just saw the shadow of a bird fly across the window.
Okay, mister.
That's how you know he's homeschooled.
So we meet Ares, and then he starts talking about how they're really behind schedule, and how he's gonna help them and to meet him at a diner further up ahead, right? So we get to the diner, and my favorite part about Ares is that he likes to start fights on Twitter, and it's implied that he does that often.
Yeah.
That's just something he does in his free time. He just starts fights on Twitter, which makes a lot of sense. If there is ever gonna be a digital war ground or battleground, it would be Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It fits. So sorry, I don't have many notes for this episode, but I just have main bullet points, so I don't. We just watched this episode. I don't know why.
Well, you don't have the next.
He starts talking about why the quest is gonna fail, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he briefly mentions Gabe, his stepdad, right? And so tell me why this dude decides to go on national TV and is just like, my stepson killed my wife. The fuck? He's
most
12.
importantly, the car.
The Camaro. We loved the Camaro so much.
I would have fucked that.
You know what? That's understandable though. That car was real. Oh, my mom called me. I'll be right back. You guys continue the podcast.
Okay, a brief intermission without Randy.
Now I have to talk more. All
Alright.
right.
Hey, that's fine. That's fine. So Gabe sort of frames Percy for Sally's murder, right?
Yeah, even though he doesn't know what happened. For all he knows, the kid and the mom could have gotten fucked.
Yeah, because at that point they were just missing, right? But then... No, he got spotted at the arch, remember?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because the FBI was spreading his photo. So you see Percy, who went missing with his mom, and his mom's nowhere around. Something's going on, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And Gabe just takes the full next step and is just like, he murdered my wife. Because that's perfectly capable for okay, I'm sure there's 12-year-old psychopaths, but seriously, dude. Oh, look who's back. So he starts talking about his family. Ares starts talking about his family.
Their family.
Their family. Because, they're all sort of related, except for Grover, but,
Their family line is a circle, as I mentioned in the episode.
Yeah, and he's just they betray, they backstab, they fight, and that's why Ares loves his families. You know what I mean? Because he loves fighting.
Yep, he loves war. He starts choking up and tearing up of just happiness.
No,
and you know what? That's happy. Real. If you're in a Mexican family and you start hearing your family talk about chisme during the Thanksgiving dinner, you know it gets interesting.
That's true.
When they start crying and yelling at each other, that's when I start eavesdropping. I remember back then I'd be playing on my DSi, just Pokemon Black, right? As soon as someone starts raising their voice on, I just put down my DS, I put my hand over my ear, and I just start listening.
I just make sure it's not my name in there.
Turns out,
That's true.
Yeah, it turns out I overheard the divorce of my uncle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty heavy stuff to hear as a 7-year-old.
Yeah, I listen to Death.
Next bullet point.
Death of the family.
Death in the Family. Batman
The fuck
reference?
God! Half a second. You believe that half a
That's
second.
it, I get to touch your... Alright, you think I can still do it after all this time?
You do squats.
Why are you gonna do push-ups
Do
right now?
squats? I'll do squats.
Okay.
Watch my phone, Gianni. Come here. Do it.
No.
But you gotta be in front of me so you can do that. Alright, Nick.
I'm gonna need to have a disclaimer and just be like, apologies, we decided to go into our workout phase literally 5 seconds into our fucking podcast. Yep. Regardless, so Ares, he talks about his family and how the war is gonna happen regardless, right? How Zeus apparently knows that the Master Bolt is gonna be found, so he just wants to have a war, right? Yeah. And Percy's just like, fuck you, fuck this, we're gonna stop this from happening. Are you gonna help us or not? So Ares sends Percy and Annabeth to find his shield. He's just like, if you get me my shield, I will give you guys a ride to Santa Monica, right? Or to wherever. But he decides to keep Grover, right? He keeps Grover as collateral, so that way he makes sure that they do their job. So then Percy and Annabeth go to Waterland, which is an amusement park built by Hephaestus. And we learned that Annabeth has never seen a movie before.
Oh yeah,
what a loser!
And then what does Percy do right after? He invites her out to a movie after they're done. Yeah. All right. I'm sorry. The fucking PlayStation sound effect.
Jesse's online. All right.
You're gonna get another one of him inviting us to a party.
Yeah.
So Percy invites Annabeth out to a movie, yada yada yada, and so they go in through the gate. And Percy steps in, and he's going to die. Well, not really. He thinks he's going to die, because there's a giant metal contraption above him. And Annabeth sort of gets distracted because she's looking at it, and she's just, like, admiring how cool it is. And Percy's standing there just like...
I was all scared, yeah.
I'm gonna fucking die. So she tells him to go through. It wasn't gonna kill them. It was just a test. They go through, but now Hephaestus knows they're in the park, right?
Wait, no, but you also forgot that Percy even became, like, worried over, like... Not.
See.
Anyway, he started thinking back on what Annabeth told him about the fates, and he became worried right there and then.
Oh yeah, that's why he was worried.
Yeah, when he.
Someone's gonna die, and you're telling me to push through this thing. You don't seem too worried about it. But he doesn't die. So they go into the park, and then we cut back to Grover with Ares. Every single time we see Grover with Ares, Grover is just gaslighting the shit out of Ares from this point on. So it's about how he's such a fan, this and that, about these wars that are barely heard of, like tugging on Ares. It's not necessarily heartstrings, but like
Johnson.
he's jerking him off. You know what I mean? Okay. Oh, I love your mellow
we're allowed
stuff.
to say this because Grover is 24.
Grover's 24. Yes, we're allowed to say this. All right. It's so weird because Ares is a couple thousand years old. But doesn't matter.
It's alright, bro. It didn't stop Twilight from doing what they did.
What was it, 100 years old with like a 16-year-old?
Like, why would you stay in a high school? Go to a college. You know? Get like 3 different fucking degrees. You know?
It's like anime.
He's already smart at like a bunch of shit. Just go be homeschooled.
Exactly. You know? Like, or he looks old enough to be like a freshman in not even because he was he could have been in college. You know what I mean? No one would have batted a fucking eye. I'm not gonna talk about Twilight. I'm not.
Twililight's pretty.
Yeah, bro, it's pretty.
It's one of the movies that you'll ever watch.
Twilight is one of the movies you'll ever watch. Yes.
Yeah.
But he starts. Yeah, so he starts gaslighting Ares and talking about how, we met at the solstice, I'm a fan of your stuff, this, and that, you know what I mean? And then we cut back to the water park and we learned that the reason Ares lost his shield is because he was there with Aphrodite.
Yep, cheating on Hephaestus. In his own fucking amusement park. They find out after listening to...
No. Before that.
Oh, okay.
Remember, they're walking through, and then they walk past the thrill ride o' love, right? Uh-huh. Not your parents' love ride. It doesn't say no. That's what it's in the books. I swear to God.
That's when the books come in, bro. Not right now.
Well, it's a fun saying.
Anyway, continue.
So they go in. Annabeth tells Percy not to be weird about it, right? And he says, I didn't say anything, but he was thinking it, obviously. And Annabeth can tell that. So they go in, and then we get... how would you describe this scene, Gianni?
Oh, I can't fucking play. Well, anyway...
We can't get copyrighted.
Yeah. They're in the boat, and then They hear very nice, amazing music. What is love?
What is love?
And then
Baby,
and then on the walls
Don't
of the
hurt
tunnel
me.
is illustrated.
No more out.
Wait, it was Hephaestus' freaking rejections and
Yeah,
hardships
his
throughout
whole
his life. And then, well, at the end, at the end he just fell into collapse.
Yeah, because it shows him being born,
Yeah.
right? It like zooms into Hera, and then
Her
he pops
rejection.
out of her ass. Originally, he comes. No, I'm thinking Dionysus. Never mind. Dionysus comes out of Zeus's thigh. It's a whole weird thing.
Yeah.
Literally, like he was born from a thigh. And regardless, it's great.
How Aphrodite was born.
We don't gotta talk about that. We don't gotta talk about Aphrodite being born. So yeah, that's his whole story. He gets rejected by Hera because he has a limp, so she throws him off a mountain, right? And so he becomes even more like disfigured. Which we see him later on. He's not that bad looking.
What if his legs were just asleep, dog, and she just is like, no, I'm not gonna give you a chance, fucking eating
Nah,
him
fuck
off
you.
the mountain. Bitch.
Yeah, and then he gets rejected by Aphrodite, and then they don't show it, but he gets rejected by Athena too. But that's a weirder story because he's just like, Athena, please, I just want to fuck, please, and then accidentally comes on her thigh. That's a whole other story. I'm not even fucking with you guys.
What do you mean he accidentally comes on her thigh?
He was edging, bro.
You know what's
Bro.
funny? You're not wrong. You are not wrong.
Hold
Literally,
on, let's take a.
he's just
let's
like,
take
Athena,
a quick
please
side show to talk about what this is.
Okay.
You captured my.
So this
interest.
is okay. After Hephaestus is back on Olympus, but before he gets a wife, right? No. This is after the whole thing of him getting Aphrodite as a wife, right? But he like obviously he knows Aphrodite's cheating on him, right? So he just wants someone to love him, right? So he goes to Athena. He's like, please, I know you're a virgin goddess, but please just let me have some coochie, please. And she keeps saying no and no, but he keeps like pawing at her, you know, like grabbing her and shit. And you guys know that like that Reddit post of like, oh, I got into an argument online and it got really angry and just randomly ejaculated 10 seconds later.
Yeah.
That was him. He was so pent up and horny that he just like came on her thigh, right? And in his shame, he walked away. So Athena grabbed a towel, wiped it off, and threw it off of Olympus, and then it turned into a baby. I'm not even fucking with you guys.
What?
It turned into a prince of Athens. He grew up to be a prince of Athens. I can't remember his name for the love of God. I can't. But it's a really...
He definitely...
So he goes up to her temple. He goes up to her temple, sexually assaults her, leaves in shame.
And then a baby is born.
And then
it's not Athena's baby, right? It's the baby of Hephaestus and a towel rag. But she decides to care for it as her own, and that's why he gets raised to be a prince of Athens.
No, this implies that towel rags are...
Sentient?
Yep.
No, this just
You can-
implies that God cum is very fertile. Which makes a lot of sense,
Bucky's
actually.
father.
You know,
Oh my
Bucky's
God.
father, his cum is so strong that it will turn a female into male.
What the fuck?
I'm not even kidding.
What the fuck?
If the baby is female, they will later become male later in the life. Read the Baki manga. It's called like Baki the Grappler. Literally states in there that they will eventually become male if they're born a female.
Oh my god, there's another like anime where it's just like a bunch of like
having them as your ex, and then a few years later you come back and see a whole ass dude.
it's just a really buff dude. Like, isn't because Baki's in the same universe as like another anime, right?
Maybe.
But it's just that one about women weightlifting and it's like a slice of life-ish. And then you also have Baki that's fucking his dad's a fucking you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What even is his dad? Like, what the fuck? He's like the most
strongest-
powerful man on earth, right?
The strongest living thing on it.
The strongest living thing,
And
yeah.
then Bucky overthrows him.
Doesn't he literally, like, just tell the president to fuck off at one
Yeah.
point? Yeah. And then no one can do anything. Okay, anyway. Enough talk.
Right,
Wait,
back to Percy.
back to, no more
This
talk
is
about
a
cum
children's
rags.
show.
No more talk about cum rags. Back
we
to the
talk about
children's show. Shut the fuck up. So they start talking, like, while the story is showing, right? About how Sally, Percy's mom, was telling him the story. And then how she was explaining it to him like that, how these are what the gods like to each other. because she wanted to keep him away from that sort of life. And he sort of feels almost not resentful, but like he sort of like for a second wishes that like, oh, maybe she should have trained me better, prepared me better for this life. But then Annabeth comes back and says like maybe this was the best thing for him, so that way he doesn't turn out like the gods, you know, because the gods are selfish and they're arrogant and they're assholes, you know, and Percy's not like that, you know, like Percy does not agree with that at all, and that's why most of that is in due part to Sally. After that, they see the shield and then they jump off the boat, right? Because it's like a little quick moment, but they see that like the boat in front of them like fucking goes down a huge waterfall.
Yeah, and,
like it's right.
And they look at the stream and then it's like it's a waterfall.
Yeah, so they jump off and then Percy saves Annabeth with his magic water powers. Ooh, you know.
I don't even know what the fuck he did. He just fucking burst and then it fucking cut to the next.
Well, because it was like you can see. I only noticed this in my second.
It looked like he probably pushed her, but like whoa.
Well, it was more like a whirlpool because I only noticed this on my second time watching it. He does it and then it fails, and it cuts to Annabeth and cuts back to Percy, and then he does it again, and it's sort of like a whirlpool. So if anything, I guess it's sort of just like sucks Annabeth in, right, and then to the shore, and that's how he saves her with magic water powers.
Yeah, it cost too much of the budget to fully animate that.
I mean, also it could look pretty trashy if it wasn't choreographed right.
True. And then we cut back to Grover and Ares, right? About how Ares hates all of his kids.
Take what's how hairy.
Ares is pretty hairy. Did you see the beard of that motherfucker?
That's something you wish you had.
Kevin Gates.
Literally, bro. I wish I had that beard.
Ares reminds me of that one video of Kevin Gates being like, if I did not start a car battery with my bare hands, may God kill my children today. Please. May God murder my children.
The fuck?
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, he says it no hesitation. He said, please. He even says, please. Right now.
Anyways, he's talking about how he hates his kids and how he hates the,
He hates every child.
He hates every child.
Every kid, but then he
hates his children
less.
Slightly less. But he still hates them. You know?
That's
It's like,
fair.
look what I made. What are butterflies for? My knee hurts, you know? And how he hates the
probably
winter.
doesn't like the learning process, but if one of them were interested in more like him, maybe he would catch an interest.
I think it's really because I saw someone mention this about how like all Clarice wants to do is like get the approval of her dad, and like he hates kids, so she's never gonna get that. And then all Percy does is beat her in the fight, and now Poseidon's coming down like, you're my kid, right? And it makes a lot of sense because Ares isn't gonna give two shits about what his children do. You know what I mean? And he hates the winter solstice because he doesn't want to sit through a presentation. This is actually the most information we've gotten about what the winter solstice actually is. You know what I mean?
But he still shows up, at least.
He should, which is more than you can say for some people.
The loser.
Anyways, and Grover was talking about how I guess this winter solstice was especially really difficult because someone stole the Master Bolt, yada yada yada, and then Ares sort of starts like catching on to him, right? But then he makes a comment about Athena, and so then Grover, because again, Grover is a master gaslighting, right? He sees that and he latches onto it. He grabs onto it, and he's like, I can exploit that, right? And we love Athena slander. We love Athena slander, all right? Fuck Athena, right? Any word against Athena that's bad, I automatically support, all right? Who talks to a fucking owl? Athena? Fuck that bitch. Jesus Christ, you know. I'm on Ares' side for this one, you know. And then we get a little bit of like a hint towards what's gonna happen later, when Grover sort of implies, I guess, that Ares found the Master Thief, or the lining thief. Yeah.
Master Thief?
Where did they get Master from?
Master.
Because you call us Master in bed every time.
No. Anyways, and I know you wanted to talk about the camera angles during that scene, right?
Oh my god, they chose the absolute worst camera angles for that scene.
Bro, remember Ares, bro? His fucking face was like...
Yeah, the angle they chose made him look cross-eyed.
I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Cross knife,
It was
fucking
fun.
veins popping out.
It was like when an anime character starts getting crazy. I think I took a photo of it.
I think you did
Squishing.
take a photo of it. Send that to me and I'll post it on our Instagram.
And then here's Grover. It's so bad.
It's like those memes where like the dudes are sweating for like anything.
They do
So, all right. We got back to Percy and Annabeth, right? And they figure out that it's a golden chair with Ares' shield above it. And it's either the same chair or a replica of the chair that Hephaestus made for Hera. Because basically what did he do? He like gave a gift to Hera. Because he's just like, Mom, I forgive you for throwing me off Mount Olympus, right? Gave it to her. And then trapped her in it. And then he just fucking dipped. He dipped. It took Dionysus getting him drunk to get him back to Mount Olympus. And then obviously he freed her if they were like, oh, we'll give you Aphrodite as a wife, yada, yada, yada. Which, depending on how you look at it, like, obviously, like, Aphrodite cheating on Hephaestus, right? But also she didn't necessarily choose to marry Hephaestus. Like, Hera chose to marry Zeus, right? Let's see. Well, you can't really use Hades and Persephone. It depends on which interpretation of Hades and Persephone you look at. But in the original one, at least what is presumed to be the original one, Hades offers Persephone solace because Zeus rapes Persephone, because Zeus decides to fuck up every love story that he can. And then in other ones, it's Hades kidnapping Persephone. It's a whole thing. What?
I had no idea Zeus.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know Zeus. Really.
I did not.
Dude, no, okay. There's a lot of, like, lore between Zeus and Hades. In some myths, they're actually sort of the same person. But just counterparts of each other. Like, two sides of the same coin, you know? Which is why the child between Persephone and Zeus, when Zeus rapes her, is also sometimes the child between Persephone and Hades during their marriage. And that becomes Dionysus. Again, another Dionysus. It's not the same Dionysus, but it kind of is. Have you guys you guys know how I play the game Hades, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the main character, Zagreus, is the prince of the underworld. He does have some actual basis in Greek mythology. He is a child of Hades and Persephone, or sometimes Zeus and Persephone, depending on which interpretation. But then later on, he sort of gets, like, mixed with Dionysus, sort of, and just, he's born out of Zeus's thigh. It's a whole weird thing. Regardless, a lot of the goddesses actually do get to choose who they marry, except for Aphrodite. I guess because Aphrodite was, like, the one that was most sought after. They just gave her up as a prize.
Didn't she get passed around by all of Olympus?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. There's some interpretations where she's the reason why Zeus cheats a lot. But then that sort of... A lot of people don't like to look at that because it's like, oh, you're blaming a man's actions on a woman now. Which, I mean, listen... I also don't agree with that.
Bro.
Listen, okay, sure.
What, Zeus? There's Ares. There's fucking.
Yeah, okay, no, listen. Like, sure, Aphrodite is the goddess of sex and fertility and love and all that. But at the end of the day, Zeus is still a fucking asshole. He still chose to cheat on his wife with all those women. Not even just cheat on to rape those women, to sexually assault those women.
That is true.
All right, you can't blame Aphrodite for that. That's purely Zeus right there.
Just rape. No sleep.
No sleeping.
No. Stop. So, I mean, I'm not justifying Aphrodite for cheating on Hephaestus with Ares, but at the same time, she loves Ares. Their children are, again, it really depends on which interpretation. Sometimes their children are the children of terror and fear, and then sometimes they're the children of, like, requited love and harmony. It's, you know, maybe both, I don't know. Where were we? Oh, yeah, we're talking about the chair.
Oh, yeah.
So one of them, it's implied, one of them sits in the chair, the other one gets a shield, right? And...
Randy sits in the chair, I take the shield and leave.
If I'm gonna sit in that chair, I gotta choose the coolest spot ever. I gotta be like...
You don't think you're taking
Like
a
a
shit.
Dark Souls.
Exactly.
You're
Like,
taking a shit,
I'm
dog.
gonna
I
be
thought you were
there,
gonna
like,
want to say like a Dark Souls.
and then when someone releases me, I just get up with my big old like sword. You know, just, come over, Adrian.
You're not gonna like sit down with your legs spread like that, you know?
Like this. Like
No,
like the
like-
Black Ops 1 title screen, just
Like leaning
two
back like
guns.
that, like presenting yourself to whoever comes into your statue.
Randy just...
oh god, it looks like I'm trying to get laid
Just-
now. Oh god.
Oh, you just...
Anyways, so Percy decides.
leave exposed.
Oh god.
god.
Percy decides he's gonna be the one to sit in the chair, right? And then Annabeth gets into a fight with him because, like, why? And the reason is because Annabeth is better than him at being a demigod. She's been dealing with this stuff for the past 5 years, since she was 7, you know? And he takes this is what the fates are talking about. I'm going to sacrifice myself here so that way the quest can be completed. Because he knows he can't complete the quest without Annabeth, but Annabeth can do it without him. Mm-hmm. Right? What he doesn't understand is that Annabeth, not because she couldn't do it without him, but she doesn't want to do it without him. She doesn't want to go on this quest without Percy.
They're friends now.
They're friends now, exactly. So he sits in the chair, and as it slowly starts enveloping him, right? Annabeth just starts freaking out, telling him to stand up and to like get out of the chair, but he can't, and then he turns into a statue.
It's like saying a disabled person to stand up.
He turns to.
You're stuck in the
Have you
chair
ever
now,
seen the
boy.
video of the teacher who tries to give a high five to the girl with no arms?
the,
Like, you can tell he does it out of reflex, but it's
you hit my
it's just
symbol.
so funny.
No. Sorry, I
no.
accidentally ripped the page out of my notebook. I was gonna rip it out anyway to pair it with other stuff, but that's fine. I'll just keep it here.
Just like your father took you out of his life. No,
Shut the fuck up, bro. Oh my god.
sorry.
Keep that in the podcast. You gotta keep that in the podcast
Just
now.
have it cut out and then up to the next segment.
No, I'm keeping that in there. Yeah.
No. Just cut it out where it's like, just like your father cut you out of his, and then fucking next to this.
Alright, what's
Okay.
that one workout you did, Gianni? What'd you do? And then just straight up,
Yeah.
like that?
Alright, continue. Alright.
Okay, so once he turns into a gold
What's my
statue,
fault?
the shield falls.
You just,
And then Annabeth goes to pick up the shield, but then sees all the gear, like, behind the chair. And then she decides that instead of, like, taking the shield and going, she's gonna stay behind and try and get Percy out. You know what I mean? And as she's doing that, we get our first look at Hephaestus, who is apparently my father.
Oh, yeah.
who's my dad again?
He doesn't even
Your
look,
mom.
He doesn't even look that freaking.
My mom is my dad?
No, like your mom is Aphrodite,
Oh, what the?
apparently, according to the
Aphrodite?
test that we took.
God, now I get passed around.
Just because you're the daughter of fuck,
Daughter?
sorry.
You
Daughter.
two birds.
What?
Just because you're the
Thor here's not Thor. Fucking Zeus here's daughter.
not even daughter, dude. Zeus fucked anything with holes, to be honest. Like, I'm not fucking with
Did
you.
you say he had sex with like a little femboy?
He had sex with a little 13-year. Well, he raped a 13-year-old prince. But I mean, he actually got taken to.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say,
Olympus.
but he had a reason to do so. I thought
No,
you were gonna say.
no. He got taken to Olympus and was made the god of cupbearing. Which is kind of funny because there's already a god of cupbearing, the goddess of cupbearing, Hebe, but no one cares about Hebe.
Who's Hebe?
Cupbearer.
The goddess of cupbearing. But she was replaced by. Was his name like Gangamede or something like that?
Gang of meat?
I don't know, whatever his name
Randy,
is. He's the new god of cupbearing. You know what's actually that myth is actually supposed to, because you know how like myths are meant to like explain things, you know?
Yeah.
That myth is actually
Yeah.
meant to explain a certain like Greek cultural practice that took place, where basically a guy, typically in his 30s or 40s, he'd be old, would buy a prince, keep him, fuck him until he's 18, right? And then as soon as the kid turns 18, the guy he would buy the prince, and because they're like together, the dude is now royalty. You know? So basically you could buy your way into being royalty by buying a prince and just having him be like your fucking femboy. Yeah.
This just makes me realize what practices came from Zeus: raping and pillaging.
Yeah. Allow it. Or actually, most of the time it was practices that the Greeks did that they projected onto Zeus sometimes, like that whole prince story. And typically, because I mean, usually the kid would grow up and he would be he would be expected to act straight, despite spending the past how many years of his life essentially being molested by this man. You know what I mean? And if he showed any other inclinations, then all of a sudden, he's a homosexual, and they'd like burn him alive or something. I don't know what the Greeks did.
Burn him alive.
I'm like, weren't you fucking little boys?
Didn't they also hate people with big penises?
Oh yeah.
Like,
that's why
Zeus. Professor Horsecock coming down the street.
Look at
I
him
heard
with
he's
his.
got a limp cock.
Look at him. He's so stupid with his giant dick.
He thinks he can please his wife better than mine.
Everyone knows women love talking about logistical equations during sex.
Like, oh, you feel that Y equals MX plus B. Oh, God. That's gotta be one of the worst things I've ever said.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Okay. Okay.
This is so bad.
Where were we?
Just got put Percy Jackson in this.
Wait.
I forgot.
We're just gonna move on.
Oh yeah, Percy got swallowed up by the chair, right?
Don't say it like that. Yes, she decides to stay behind. We meet Hephaestus, right? We meet Hephaestus. And he starts trying to convince Annabeth to, like, move forward. You know, there's nothing she can do. And Annabeth says, fuck that. Fuck Ares. Fuck Zeus. Fuck my mom. Alright?
Okay.
They're all assholes, you know? She starts talking about how Percy's different, you know? Percy doesn't believe in the whole eat or be eaten thing, you know? Which I fuck with. And she starts saying that, like, he's better, you know? And how she wants to be like him.
Percy doesn't get eat or eaten, he fucks. Anyway,
you know what we haven't talked about in a while? Percy's kill count. His kill count's still at 4, right?
Yeah.
I don't think he's killed anything in a while. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't kill anything in episode 4, right?
Yeah, neither of them.
Oh, right. So Annabeth has a kill count of 1, and she has an assist on 1.
Mm-hmm. Bro, we're keeping track of KDA? What the?
Fuck yeah, dude, this is important.
How many times have they died so far?
Okay, so no, their kill to death ratio is pretty good right now.
Yeah.
Grover has an assist on Medusa. Annabeth has that assist on Medusa, and then also the kill on Alecto's sister.
Okay.
And I think that's it, right? Yeah.
Doing better than Hitler so far?
I'm sorry, what?
6 million to 1.
Shut the fuck up. Percy's going, yeah, so that's still 6 million KD.
That's true. He did also die in the feed, though.
And we're not, okay. Okay, we're moving on.
He was creative. Anyway.
So, Hephaestus is sort of like, how would you say, like, inspired, I guess, by Annabeth's speech. Yeah. And so he decides to free Percy. And he says, not all of us like being that way. You know, he decides to put in a good word to Athena, which, fuck Athena still. Because he makes a comment.
I don't think it will even work.
No, because what did he say? Oh, we both know how your mother gets, but even...
Well, she's going to be like, she feels disgrace. You got help.
You got help.
Or from a cripple or something.
And, like, fucking Athena would do some shit like that. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, what does he say? Like, oh, we both know how your mother gets, but even this was too much. Like, this was a lot or something. Yeah. You're gonna try and kill your 12-year-old daughter. Whatever. So he gets freed. We get back to the diner, and then Ares sends him on the way to Hermes, right? To go to the Lotus Casino.
Yeah, they load him in the back of a Of a truck.
In the back of the truck.
Mm-hmm. Where they traffic into Australia.
Where they traffic
No, they go to
Las Vegas.
Yeah, they go to the Los Casino to try and find a Hermes, and then we learn that Grover knows who the lightning thief is, and that's the end of the episode.
Yeah.
I thought this was a good episode. I liked it. I liked Grover gaslighting Aries. I liked
Bro, that's just a natural talent, bro. How the fuck do you gaslight that good?
Yep.
It's in him, dude. He's good at this shit. Whoa, hey, stop. And then I really liked the interaction between Percy and Annabeth this episode, and Annabeth's whole speech. Granted, this is very different from the book, but this is one of those changes that it's not even that I don't mind it. I actually like it, and I appreciate it a whole lot, you know? Because it serves to build up the relationship between Percy and Annabeth. You know what I mean? Because in the book, it sort of did that, kind of, you know? But it wasn't necessarily the main focus. This time, it is, and I like it. It does it well. I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Actually, I forgot we're scoring.
Yeah.
What was the last thing I gave?
I think the last one you gave, like, a 6 or a 7. I think you gave it a 7.
This one was definitely more entertaining. Probably like, 7.5 then.
7.5.
Me personally,
I found it more entertaining.
Aries is my favorite
Yes, sir.
character so far. I very much like how things are building.
He's very open
And
to
that the plot is moving forward along with character progression. I don't know about you guys, but I give it an 8.7.
8. Wow, very, very specific.
Actually, 8.765.
Oh, yeah, I'm just going to keep it as 8%. So that's the end of that
They didn't even
episode.
talk about how lonely Aries sounds, because like how easily gaslighted he was.
That's true. It feels like no one really talks to him about anything. You
Or
know what
just
I mean?
Appreciates him. At all.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense when you consider how he was viewed in Greek mythology.
Okay,
He was
like
very
that.
typically the butt of the joke until he turns into Mars in Roman mythology.
He turns into a
Like-
planet.
No. But yeah, that's the end of
This
that.
is literally Jupiter, dog.
Jupiter.
Okay. In my opinion, we go from one of the best episodes to, I think this is the worst episode of the series so far.
Lucky, yeah.
And I feel like a lot of that is due to, well, you know what? We'll go as we go on, right? Because in this episode, there's some changes that I like, but there's some changes that I don't like also. So
Yeah, I'm not a nerd, so I don't really care.
we start off this episode in the back of the van. No, we don't. It's a dream, right?
Yeah, they see an old man talking to someone
Oh.
saying,
It's the
Hades.
actor for the headmaster, right?
Headmaster.
It's the actor for the headmaster.
Isn't
But-
he Hades?
Yeah, so the headmaster isn't Hades, but they use him
they talk
as
through
like
him?
yeah, sort of. Yeah, they talk through him. And it's not even so much as a dream as it is Percy in his dream being able to spy on the conversation between this person who we believe is Hades and the lightning thief, who we find out is Clarice, right?
Or suspected to be Clarice.
Yeah, and they suspect it's Clarice because Grover found out that Ares was covering for the lightning thief, and obviously who would he cover for? His favorite daughter, Clarice. So they Ares message camp, and they actually tell that to Luke. They're trying to find Chiron, but Chiron is trying to keep the camp from imploding in on itself because everybody's picking sides and everything, right? And so they talk to Luke, right? And then Luke explains what's going on. He finds out that the Clarice is the lightning thief. Makes a joke about Percy and Annabeth being an old married couple. And then Percy's about to... What were you going to say?
Percy's about to tell him about Hermes, or how they're going to see Hermes in Las Vegas. But then Annabeth cuts the call short because she does not want him to know anything about Hermes. Right
Yeah.
now.
Because it's established kind of subtly in the second and third episodes that...
They hate each other.
Or that
No,
Luke doesn't have
Luke-
a good relationship.
Yeah, Luke
With
just
Hermes.
hates him. Luke just hates him.
Well, we learned at
Very
this
proud.
episode that Luke full on hates his father. Before it was implied that they don't have a good relationship. Now we get the information that he doesn't like his father at all. You know, base as fuck, but I mean, you know. So Grover starts talking about how they need to free these animals, right? Because they're being
Okay.
trafficked. And how they have a plan,
Yeah,
but
I
the
hate
only
traffic.
the only thing they're missing is thumbs, right? But they have thumbs. So they free the animals and we get to see their elaborate plan, which is to cause a traffic jam in the middle of Vegas.
Yeah, it's already freaking bombarded there.
And
Imagine.
you have a fucking camel just standing in the middle of the road. And
I would be
Percy
so
asked,
pissed,
"Is this
bro.
safe?" And then he was like, "Oh," and then Grover's all like, "Oh yeah, I gave him the seal of."
the sater's buzzing. They'll be
There
able
you
to
go.
find food and water before they get to the wild. And he says, "No, I'm talking about for the people." And Grover,
Grover's like, "Oh,
yeah,
we'll be fine."
they were fine. The animals were okay though. Fucking love them. And so they try to find the Lotus Casino, right? And then they turn around and boom, there it is, right? There's a roller coaster outside, which we never see on the inside. And this is, okay, we go in, no poker face.
Because you don't. Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, that's the
They
worst
should
part
have
of
used
the
the Cartman
episode.
version too.
Uh-huh.
That's, can't read my,
No, you can't read my poker face.
So, listen, I understand why they didn't do it, right? Because in the movies, they were older. It wasn't necessarily as connected to the books. But this is the one scene, the one episode that I think the movies did better than the book than the show.
Yeah.
The books are still, to me,
Better.
top notch. But I feel like the show really flopped hard on this one. You know? Because the casino is meant to be this place. It's meant to be filled with children. Filled with games. It's meant to be like this huge, giant thing. Because, again, we find this out later, but, like, it's meant to keep you trapped there.
Forever.
You know? They have no mention of, like, the lotus blossoms. You know? Which, I mean, I guess you can assume it's in the air anyway, right? But, like, that's the whole, like, shtick of the place.
I liked it in the movies because, they actually ate it, they got addicted to it, and then when Percy finds out in the movies is when...
Like, when Poseidon decides
Well,
to...
no, he got, like... He wanted some fresh air because Poseidon told him to stop eating, and then he found out when he bumped into the guy that was gambling, that he was all like...
But he was from, like, the 70s, right?
Yeah, he was talking about a movie that came out, like, decades ago. He was like, bro...
That's actually sort of similar to in the books, actually. Because, so, the thing about Percy Jackson is that it portrays these gods and monsters in a more modern context. So, obviously, the Lotus Island, where, sure, in the original myths, they eat the lotus blossoms, it changes to, we're going to keep you here because you're too entertained. You know, you don't want to leave. This is too good to leave, you know? The movie goes back more so to the original myth, so it's like the actual lotus blossom. But they have that scene both in the movie and in the book where Percy's talking to a guy from the 70s, right? And it sort of picks up as like weird because the dude uses slang that he doesn't necessarily understand. And then Percy says something and then the other dude looks at him weird.
You can even see, like, the differences in clothing and stuff.
Yeah, that's very accurately portrayed in the book and in the movie. And then Percy tries to make conversation, and that's when he finds out this dude's been here since the 70s. But he looks 17. And in the movie, it's sort of like that, the same thing. But what I'm trying to get at is that the casino in the show does look more like an actual casino, but, like, it doesn't have the air of, like, fun and adventure that it should have,
Yeah.
Like, instead of wanting to stay there because you want to stay
It
there,
looked pretty boring.
it looked boring. They had, like, one VR thing.
Because if you were gonna trap people there, you get to, like,
Make
go
it
big.
exciting.
Yeah, go big, look exciting, look.
Like the roller coaster outside, or,
the fucking rows and slots of, like, freaking machines to gamble with.
It's so funny because I know the reason why they moved away from the movie was because they didn't want to promote children gambling. But all there is in the casino is gambling tables.
Yeah.
Why the fuck is a child gonna want to stay there? It's...
you still saw gambling, so there's, like...
Yeah, because, like, obviously in the movie they, like, actually gamble, Which, again, they're 16, technically illegal, but it doesn't matter. The casino's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be adventurous. You're supposed to want to stay there. And not just, we're here and I'm going to forget everything because I'm breathing in lotus blossoms. You know what I mean? Or lotus flowers or whatever. So, honestly, I found that really disappointing. Like, they go in, they already know they can't eat the lotus blossoms. I don't have too much of a problem with that. They've already shown that, like, they have a greater knowledge of their world, which is why they know who Medusa is. They know the 3 fates, you know, the chimera, all that, you know what I mean? So I don't have a problem with that. But then they split up, they talk about Luke's mom, which, this is technically like 3 books early, right? We don't get any mention about his mom until the 4th book. But we get it here, how she could see through the mist, and something happened that made her go a little bit cuckoo.
Yeah, and then wasn't being with Hermes even make it worse.
Mm-hmm. Basically, it's sort of implied that later on, because Hermes tried to stay in Luke's life, in Luke's mom's life, that's what sort of happened, everything, like, that's what sort of caused everything to, like, spiral out of control. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Regardless, we're getting a little too ahead of ourselves. They split up. Grover finds Augustus, who he sees Augustus, and you have a 3-second shot of this fucking man with goat legs. No one's walking past, just staring straight at you. I don't know why. I just thought that was funny. Just it comes out of nowhere.
It looked like something was about to go down.
Just like, and then he's sort of like, he's really weird and he's really out of it. And then Grover thinks it's because he's eating the lotus flowers, right? So he follows him because he tries to talk to him about Uncle Ferdinand. And he starts talking about how he found Pan, so he follows him. We cut back to Percy telling Annabeth about his dreams. Right? About how he's sort of spying on Hades and Clarice. Is there anything else that's important in that scene, by the way, besides their whole dream situation?
I can't remember.
I think when Percy's talking about his dreams to Annabeth.
No, I don't remember anything else.
Yeah. I think that's it. Because then we just cut back to Grover, and this is the moment where, like, Grover forgets Percy and Annabeth, right? Mm-hmm. He gets confused because Augustus is just eating nacho chips. And in his confusion, that's when it sort of, like, starts to take hold. And then he forgets Percy and Annabeth. Back to Percy and Annabeth. They meet Hermes. They try to get his help by telling him that they're friends of Luke's, you know what I mean? Then we get a little bit more backstory that he was told to stay away from them, and yada yada this, yada yada. We kind of already explained that.
Yeah.
And we learned that Poseidon is actually the one that told Hermes that it was best to stay away from Luke and his mom. And Percy's confused because Poseidon wanted to meet with him. And if Poseidon thinks this is going to make things worse, why does he want to do that, you know? And Hermes offers a little bit of light on the situation, how at the end of the day, Percy is still Poseidon's son. Poseidon's going to want to do what's best for his son, even if that means sometimes
being away, letting things happen.
Yeah, being away, letting things happen. But sometimes God gets selfish. Yeah. He's going to want to meet with his kid, you know what I mean? And Percy's going to want that. I mean, his dad saved him. It's what he wants.
And also he gets answers. He also gets answers.
What do you mean?
Because he doesn't have a bunch of questions.
Oh, yeah. He has a lot of questions about everything that happens, and he wants to talk to his dad to get answers about that. But then Hermes makes, like, a little nod about how, like, the quest is going to fail anyway because they're running out of time, right? They run back, and Percy somehow finds out that, like, 4 days have passed. Maybe Hermes told him.
No. Oh, yeah, because he pointed out the watch, so maybe he looked, I don't know, maybe at a calendar or something?
I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. Because
if you were trapping someone there, you wouldn't show a calendar.
Yeah, you wouldn't, yeah.
Maybe he looked outside and it was night. Oh, yeah, wasn't it nighttime?
Yeah, but, like, my first reaction would be, we've been here for, like, 30 minutes, but hours have passed. Not, we've been here for 30 minutes, it's now this specific
maybe then,
day.
Like, after he noticed how, like it was already night, maybe he then looked at what day it was. But
but like he looks at night and then we immediately get the scene with Annabeth. I think Hermes just told him. I think Hermes just told him that it was Thursday, I guess. I don't know.
Does Hermes not get affected by the lotus flowers because he's a god, by the way?
I mean, isn't it slower?
He transcends space and time, remember?
Oh.
He's a transgender?
He transcends space and time. He teleports Percy and Annabeth to, like, the little, like, room, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So...
He can just leave, and then he just comes back and gambles again.
Yeah. Just whenever he's needed, you know? We find out that Annabeth picked Hermes' pocket, so that way they could steal the taxi. And then we learn that they pump the lotus flowers into the air, and then they go and try to find Grover, where they find Augustus, and Percy says, Grover got really old. How long have we been here? Alright, so they chase Augustus, and they find Grover, who's in a VR thing, and he doesn't know who they are, right?
Yeah, he was completely
God damn, how long was that game for? Actually, no. Bro, how does that game even work? Because for you, it feels like 20 minutes, but like it's been days.
I guess maybe it's just like, it's within the sphere of influence, so it just works like... I assume it's not
what if they aren't even seeing anything?
I don't know. I'm assuming maybe the game servers are in the casino itself, you know? Because if it was outside, then that's weird.
Yeah.
So they have to go find a taxi. They find a taxi, and Percy turns out to be a very terrible driver.
Yeah. I mean, none of them drove. Maybe Grover, but like he was out of it.
He was out of it. Well, that's why, because they look towards Grover because he's 24, he's going to have the most experience, but he's still under the effect of the lotus blossoms.
Bro, that scene was so painful to watch. I wasn't even that bad. Actually, I wasn't bad at all.
Just flex your driving skills.
I mean, I was driving in the mountains.
Yeah. But, you know,
I drove near a school zone and I ran over the
Shut the fuck up. So, somehow they managed to get out of the garage. And then they end up in Santa Monica. In Santa Monica...
Percy sees his whip. What the fuck?
I'm sure he can fix it. It's a god car or something. I don't know.
A god
So
car.
he goes to meet his father. And we're about to meet his father because he goes into the water. And his father's not there. It's a naiad because... Here we get to two changes that I don't like. We learn that the deadline has passed. That they have missed it. And Poseidon's gone to marshal his forces for war against Zeus. The reason because again, it's not like that in the book, and it's unlike some changes that like I don't like this one. Because I feel like it takes away like a certain aspect of the story, if that makes sense. Like this race against time to get there, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now it's like, they've lost. You know, the deadline's passed. What could they do, you know? Obviously, they can do more, but it to me personally just takes away...
It's like another race of time, but like, it's a shittier...
Instead of like, oh, we gotta stop this war from happening, it's like, oh, damn, like, the war is already happening. We just gotta stop it before it can get really big, you know?
Yeah.
Which isn't necessarily bad, but...
It's a shittier substitution.
It's a shittier substitution, yeah. And then, so, Percy's just like, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep stopping this, you know. Like, if you can help me, you have to help me. So then the Naiad gives him 4 pearls, right? Pearls to, like, escape the underworld, I guess, right? In the book, it's only 3. And it's... Like, okay, listen, I can understand why they gave him 4, because obviously Poseidon's going to want to help Sally, but, like...
What if he drops one in the middle? And, well, maybe it's to give viewers hope that all 4 of them come back, but then something wrong happens and he loses one.
Yeah, and again, this is, I guess, sort of like spoilers, I guess, if people are watching this for the first time along with us. In the book, it's only 3. Right, so obviously, in the movie it was also 3, so like, who's gonna be left behind, you know what I mean? But here it's 4, which, you know, like, I guess we'll see what they do with that.
I feel like he'll probably lose it. That or someone takes it and uses it for themselves.
The author did say that, like, even though, that the reason he changed it to 4 was so it could be more narratively correct for Poseidon wanting to help them. But he did say that the end result would still be the same.
Okay,
so, yeah. And then, yeah. That was just, yeah. I think, yeah, and then that's the end of the episode. He gets the pearls, and then they leave. So, overall, again, the casino was really disappointing me. I really wish there was more fun. It had a sense of, like fun and adventure, you know? Yeah.
No, he can't read my poker face. How'd they get away with putting that song into a kid's movie, by the way?
Well, because no kid looks into the fucking lyrics.
Yeah.
Sure, I'm pretty sure the parents have at least heard it on the radio.
They just listen to like the chorus, but they don't even look into it. Just poker face, and that's all you remember.
Yeah. But I mean, that was the end. And it hates me to do this. It really does. But I gave it a 5.5 out of 10. It's probably, like, it's not a bad episode, but it doesn't live up to the ones that came before. And the reason it's not a 5 is purely because there are some things that they changed that like I didn't mind or I liked, you know what I mean? So that's the only reason it's a 5.5 and not a 5. So, yeah.
See, I don't really consume anything Percy Jackson like, so you'll have to keep in mind that this is in the view of someone who hasn't read the books and has watched 2 seconds of the movie. It was alright.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll kind of agree. Something with the casino just didn't feel.
It felt flat.
Yeah, it felt
Flat.
Yeah, I mean, Adrian's chest definitely not flat.
Shut the
But it definitely like in the movies, I guess, like what I remember for the casino, like kind of like how you brought up, it felt like their attention was earned to the casino. There, I'm just kind of like, how is everyone not brain dead yet? Mm-hmm. The way like Augustus was acting along with Grover, they were basically like just.
They look like zombies. Actually.
Yeah. So like, how was like everyone not that? It just felt kind of inconsistent how the lotus flowers worked. And I guess with Hermes, I guess you could explain he's a guy, he goes through space and time, but at the same time, they don't explain that.
I mean, they would also have, because didn't they say something about demigods having more resistance?
Yeah, well,
So
that's
then-
typically towards like the mist. I'm not sure that would apply to lotus
I
blossoms.
thought they mentioned it for the lotus. So,
Yeah.
then my brain probably just autocorrect and fucking did it for me. Because the
Yeah.
moment I thought of that, I was like, oh, then 100% the gods either have like no effect or not affected or just barely are.
Yeah.
Everything else except the casino part, I would say is fine though.
Yeah.
That part before before they got into casino was pretty funny, and the
Yeah.
setup to the next episode, really good, for someone who hasn't seen the book. So I'll be a bit more lenient and say it's like a probably like high 6 or 7,
Like a 6.8?
probably something like that. 6.9,
6.
6.9873342.
I'm gonna do 6.9 because it's funny. What about you, Gianni? Your thoughts, your rating?
That shit was boring.
Can't blame
Maybe
you.
like a 5.
Like a 5?
5,
That
understandable.
shit was boring.
Yeah. So I think
I was not tugging my Johnson.
consistently this was our
It
like
was a
the worst
maybe-
episode we
Maybe like
reviewed.
the most entertaining part for me was maybe the Hermes interaction, but like
True.
Yeah.
The freaking animals being set out and just being like, people will be fine.
Yeah. So at the time of recording, episode 7 came out like 2 days ago. We'll be back next week to review episodes 7 and 8.
That will be the season finale, right?
Season 8 is the season finale. After that, we are going to go into our bi-weekly structure, where it's every 2 weeks. And then after that, we review the movie, and then we go into the books. And I believe that is everything that we have to talk about. That was our episode of Demi-God.
isn't there also actually, we'll do it for the next episode, which we're running out of time.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Well,
we're running out of time, so we had to keep this.
It was the
podcast,
god
we had to keep this
of
episode
nature,
short.
right?
Pan.
Pan.
We
They
didn't-
mentioned. like,
Oh
a lot of
yeah,
her-
that was one thing I did. Another thing I didn't like about the episode. They were building up like, oh, Pan's gonna be important.
Well,
Then
maybe.
he just
Well,
did
maybe
nothing.
it does
Okay.
have something to do with Pan. It's just that they weren't prepared for.
Okay,
lotus
because
effects.
because the whole thing with Pan isn't resolved until much later in the books. They mention him in the first books, but this is the most they've done it in the show. You know what I mean? So I wasn't
The
expecting
movie
anything.
Did not exist.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting anything with Pan, like at all. But like this happened, and I was like, okay. But I guess it's just to give more character to Grover and what he's trying to do.
I guess, but at the same time, I don't know much about the books, so to me, it just looks like a plot line that just goes nowhere.
Yeah, I guess it makes a lot of sense why we sort of forgot to mention it until right now. That's how unimportant it was to the episode.
Yeah, it's like, why? To me, it just kind of felt like, why was Augustus there? in
I mean,
the
it
first
also
place
gives
anyways?
probably people who are barely first time watching it that maybe Pan is connected to the Lotus
To the
Casino.
Lotus Casino, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, it would. It
And
could
maybe
explain
that's
the
why.
lotus
That's why
flowers,
satyrs.
considering
Maybe and that's why. Right? What are they called?
Satyrs.
Satyrs don't-
Satans.
I was confused as to why
Don't find
Augustus
them.
would be there. That's true.
Yeah, maybe that would explain to like first viewers why they don't find him, because they
True.
go into the Lotus and they get stuck there.
Yeah.
Wouldn't we see other satyrs though then?
Well,
I feel like if
maybe
they wanted to do that, just in the background, they would be there, you know? But they...
Or maybe they're already withered away, because look at Augustus. Homies are really
That's
brain
true.
dead.
That's true.
Sure, they ended
Well,
up basically brain dead. But even if there was like a dead body in the casino, they
Well,
would
maybe,
at least
I mean,
have
they
to
would have
roast
taken
that.
care of it. The staff is...
Well, no, because time moves differently. So someone who's been there for 50 years, like has aged 50 years, will probably have been there for like 200 years. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's everything. Now it's everything. Yeah, we'll see you all next week. Randy, do you want to do the honors?
Hold up, drop the weight.
Oh, yeah.
No, don't drop it. Don't drop
Okay, yeah,
it.
we're gonna break the floor.
No, like little. Just boom. That's
Ready?
the Hercules.
See ya.